Welcome back to the SVG On Demand. I'm Kristian Hernandez. We're here with a new series. You recently saw the website. We have a lot of interviews with the At the Ballpark series with the MLB folk. But now we're going to On the Gridiron, and we have a special guest for episode number 1. We have Kyle Campbell, who is the director of game day experience with the New Orleans Saints. Kyle, first of all, how you doing? How's everything going down there in the Bayou, and how's the team?
We got a win in week 1, so it makes everything better. It's always nice to wake up on a Monday morning following a W. So I'll say being 1-0, things are going pretty well down here.
I'm sure everyone wished they could say that, but only a few can win on week 1. So congrats on the win, first of all. But let's go down into the nitty gritty here. Going into the stadium, Superdome down in New Orleans, what's the safety protocols like? I'm not sure if there's a tiering system like the MLB had. Go into a little bit of how you guys are staying safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously completely different than what we're normally used to on game day with certain parking spots that we're used to and entrances, but things have changed. Our working with ASM Global, our operations team has done a tremendous job of building protocols of, hey, this is the parking where you're going to go. This is the entrance you're going to go. You need to get health screened. We need to get tested prior to going to the game. And that's specific for people like myself in our house controls booth or our control room where we're in close environments and where while we may have plexiglass in there, it's still not able to do a full 6-8 feet of social distance with that. But yeah, the protocols have been interesting with that. I mean, I go in and go up to my booth and I'm upstairs and that's my thing. And there's people I have technically only one person that on game day that is on the field that has access to things, and he's actually our ref mic technician.
Wow.
But he's a great guy that is like, hey, if you need anything, let me know and I'll do it. He's on headset with me, so it's really beneficial. But we've had to really rethink access. And I've talked with a lot of my counterparts across the NFL of queuing player introductions. Who does that? Because nobody from my staff's going to have access to be that close to the player. So a lot of teams are basically going to their public relations teams and saying, hey, PR, really need y'all to help us with this. And our team helped us tremendously with that this week, and hopefully we'll continue with that. So it's been a completely different perspective of thinking about things. But yeah, I mean, it's the tiering is more so game day personnel, they're calling it, which is on field access. The NFL is allowing field access prior to 4 hours to kickoff. After that, that's only access to people that are credentialed for the field, for the game. Yeah, it's basically what the protocol was, and wearing masks obviously at all times and keeping our distance and prepackaged lunch more so versus sit down. And I think our team really did, though, hit it out of the ballpark with making sure they thought of every step of we usually think of the customer journey, but this is more of the employer journey for these games without fans, where walk in, parking, walk in, screening, going vertical movement up into the building and all of that. So we really our team did a tremendous job.
Great to hear. Should I ask this at the beginning? But dress rehearsals, you usually have dress rehearsals just in general for normal season during preseason. Those games got nixed. What was it like kind of coming up with the strategy here without those preseason slate?
Well, it's amazing how many things go well leading up to the game. And then once you're actually live with things, there's ghosts that come out of nowhere that things get tweaked. And we had a couple of those. We are glad there was a couple of things, a couple of very small hiccups that we were glad that there were no fans there for it potentially with that. But we do a lot of rehearsals, not even before preseason. Normally in a normal season, we do a tech rehearsal, we do a graphic load in, then we do a game rehearsal where we run through all of our elements with our partnership team. We kind of merged those 3 into 2 different days this year. So we were able to get into the rooms, get people familiar with the different seating. We're moving people. Obviously there's certain positions we didn't need this year because of sponsor obligations or because of access, because of social distancing. But yeah, I mean, without having preseason, man, I mean, it would have been very challenging if we had fans without preseason, just because of the fact of from just even security screenings and that kind of stuff operationally. I can't speak too much to it because it's not my realm, but
right.
This definitely felt like a preseason game just based on there being not much of an environment first of all, but then also like it was just the first time some people had gotten into the building, and it was difficult. It was tough, but it was once things got rolling and we got to the kinks out of the chains there, we were able to rock and roll like we needed to.
Right. You guys are trained professionals, so it's like riding a bike. Is it not?
Yeah, sometimes. Hopefully, sometimes you wish you still had training wheels, but other times it's a unicycle essentially. So
Right. That makes sense. Okay, so one of the big things that every sport has seen with live sports right now in the COVID era is the crowd noise. Talk about the execution of that. And plus, your building is a dome, and that thing can get loud. I was down there in January for the national championship game, and those are two teams. I mean, granted, LSU is in it, but that place can get loud. And another question that I want to throw at you: your fans, well, in the stands, are disciplined. So when Drew Brees and the offense are on the field, they know to shut up, don't say anything. We need the play calls to go up. How has that worked in terms of, do you make sure to bring it down lower when the offense is up? And when the defense is on, you just pump that baby up to where you can't hear and can't think? Or what's the execution and the strategy and what the details in terms of your personnel doing that?
yes, so you're right. Our fans are amazing and know the game. They're smart fans, most importantly. So they know, like you said, they know the game. They know if it's big third down, we can poke the bear a little bit and they get crazy. But like you said, when Drew walks through past those white lines and he's inside there, it's be
like
quiet. Let them. It is. It's Sunday. We're the Saints, man. It's Sundays at church, basically. But so the NFL has some very strict rules regarding the crowd noise. So there's two different things that I'll help explain. There's curated ambient crowd noise in the stadium, which the NFL has sent every team a stadium-specific track for them to play. And for week one, that track had to be played at 70 decibels the entire game. Okay. And that was basically from when the teams get on the field for kickoff through the end of the game, but you could bring it down during breaks when there wasn't any break. So they were able to, that just kind of helped to make it feel like there were some people there, which it did a little bit. And then on top of that, we were able to play music and fan prompts, and our PA was able to get to 75 decibels. So only an additional 5 decibels there, which isn't that much. I mean, a typical Saints game on defense, we're roughly 115 to 125 decibels.
Yep.
So it was there. Players made a lot of comments after the game about how quiet it was. I've never felt so many indirect shots taken at me, but felt so little like embarrassment by it because there's nothing I could have done. So
right.
I don't. The NFL may be looking to make adjustments. They're just kind of seeing how things went week one, and I think maybe they'll make adjustments. We don't know yet. We hope so. But to answer your question too, that ambient crowd noise needs to stay at the same level the entire game. That offense, defense, that can't fluctuate from our standpoint. That needs to stay consistent. Then on network, which is what everybody else hears, except for those select few that are in the stadiums, network is doing dynamic crowd noise, where the NFL has hired people in each market to work with Fox, CBS, NBC, ESPN to run this dynamic crowd noise that you hear on TV, where it seemed to get a lot of buzz, I would say more positive than negative after week one of making it feel and sound like there was actually fans in the stands. Specifically, there was an interesting moment at our game on Sunday when Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans, who have been going at it for a couple of years now. Marshawn has been winning that battle for at least 3 seasons. But they went at it, and I guess our crowd noise operator played some boos, and people went. I got some texts from some friends at home saying, "Oh, they played booing. That was awesome. Like it felt like a real game." So it was important for us to help identify somebody to help run that dynamic audio that knows what a game in the Superdome feels like. Because, like you said, man, it's second to none. It really is, and it's we miss that home field advantage, but we're trying to get creative in ways to within the rules to make sure that we are creating an advantage for our team.
When fans ultimately do get back, the video board elements, now that they're not here, what's it like during a typical game? What's on that scoreboard? Are there any? I'm sure I don't want to assume, but trivia questions? I'm not sure there are any because there's no fans, or like historical moments. And how do you balance sponsor obligations, and what's the rundown?
Yeah, so we during a typical game, we have a lot of partnership obligations during a normal game. Where during our breaks, we've got a lot of different features we're running, or different highlights, this, that, the other, honoring specific people in the community. During these fanless games, we're doing none of that.
Right.
And we have worked. Our partnership team has done a great job working with our digital team and other production teams and that kind of stuff to find make goods on these elements elsewhere. In stadium on Sunday, we ran NFL highlights, like red zone, basically, and out of town scores and some game stats. We wanted to focus on the game at hand. We did still run sponsorship elements of like our signage from a signage standpoint with our message board, our LED, our ad panels up on our video board, just for a potential opportunity for them to get some exposure on TV with that. But no, we did not. We usually have a partner on our first downs and our touchdowns. We did not run any of that on Sunday. Everything was all football centric.
Right. Okay. As we progress, I know the Chiefs and the Jaguars had fans in the stands for week 1, but as we progress, fingers crossed, hopefully the coronavirus and the pandemic kind of subside and everything comes back to normal for a sense. But the potential of having fans inside the dome in later weeks, how does that rethink your strategy? Because I asked you before this call, and you're like, I've never thought about this before. But you're going into the season with a strategy without any fans. You've never had to do that before. Now you have to kind of go back to, okay, fans are in here, so we have to dust off some things and fire those things up. How are you balancing that? And how excited are you for fans to eventually come back, hopefully later this season?
First, obviously, extremely ecstatic about the potential of fans returning. They really do create the atmosphere, and they make my job. I mean, my job, I'm not kidding you, my number 2 bullet point on my resume is throw a party for 73,000
Right.
people. That's what I feel like I get to do. I feel like I have one of the best jobs in the world. But to answer your first question about going to fans from no fans, I kind of prepared the whole off season of what are we going to do with fans, because I knew that it was going to be easier to take away. Meaning, if we didn't have fans, I knew we weren't going to be doing as much of the sponsor content and that kind of thing. So prepping for game 1 was a little bit easier, and then obviously moving into the Packers we have on Sunday Night Football on the 27th next week. It's going to be very similar to this past Buccaneers game, and then we kind of playing it week by week of hopefully we can get people in here for the next game. We have to wait for state and local government approval on that for the NFL's guidelines there, and so we're anticipating. We are anxiously awaiting the day that the fans can come back, because, like I said, it truly makes our city. It really does. Like it was weird leaving the dome on Sunday and not being stuck in traffic. As weird as it sounds, I'm used to going home, like my wife coming and we drive home. We're stuck in traffic. Listen to the post game radio show. I was home in 10 minutes and it was awesome, but it was also weird to like not hear honking and people yelling and flags flying, and it felt like a normal day in downtown New Orleans, which Saints game days are all but that.
Right, they're not normal, but I'm sure you miss the atmosphere, but hopefully they'll come back soon. But in the meantime, last question, Kyle, it's more than just you and your team. It makes a whole entire team is needed to make this thing kind of seem functional at this point because of everything that's going on. I want to give this time to give you a couple shout outs. Any names, any people, or just in general, how proud of you of your team to at least make sure week 1 went as smooth as possible.
Yeah, our operations team at the stadium, both with ASM Global and our internal Saints team, I don't know if they slept for the last 3 weeks, and their hard work showed, and it was incredible. They just did an amazing job of, like I said earlier, thinking about the employee journey for these first games, and all the while still planning on when we do have fans coming in and making sure that's not just pushed to the back burner with things. Our production team has done a tremendous job of creating content that we don't know. It might be run for 2 games, and then we might have to change it for when we have fans there. But they're like, hey, whatever we've got to do, get creative thinking. There's certain cameras that we used to have on the fields or in the stands that we don't need anymore, obviously, because they can't be used. How do we creatively repurpose those cameras to help us shoot the game, to give us replay angles that we might not have had in the past? You know what I mean? To
Right.
creatively get us a different look at things. Our digital team has done an amazing job really picking up, and then our game entertainment team. So it's my boss Jen Martindale, who's our VP of brand strategy, and it's myself, and then it's just our associate Alex Schweppe, and it's really kind of us that oversee our entire game day from that standpoint. And we've just been on constant communication of, hey, what do we do with this? Hey, I just got this note from the NFL. This is the mandate for the crowd noise, and this is this. And honestly, too, can't I can't neglect to say we've talked so much as game pres directors across the league, and really, really, really utilized a lot of my counterparts across the league, from being on text with Jacksonville, Carolina, Atlanta, even though we don't like the Falcons.
Yeah.
Still don't mind the people that work there, to Allen with Minnesota and LJ in San Francisco, um, Eric in Philly, and I mean, Jackie in Houston, all these people across the league. I'm texting, hey, are you guys doing this? Or what do you guys think about this? Or, hey, just a heads up, stats in a box didn't work that great for us this week. Just a heads up, if you didn't host the game 1, make sure that's lined up and ready to go for week 2. So honestly, they've been the biggest like sounding board for us. But yeah, I think those groups as a whole, everybody's really kicked butt and spent a lot of time getting things prepared and doing something that I hate using the term unprecedented times, and I think that and fluid situation have been the 2 most overused terms during this. But
Yeah.
at the same time, these people have really done something and allowed us to execute something that is truly unlike anything else. And so I gotta definitely give them major kudos there.
Just like any family, the greater NFL family and, the siblings in it are sticking together to try to make sure that not only your product is good, but their product is it's iron sharpens iron. So you guys are going to help each other out and make your products a bit better.
We all take really a ton of pride in what we do. But at the same time, there's definitely times where you just swallow your pride, like, hey, we need to reach out to this person and give them a heads up of what might be coming. And so, yeah, it's we've really gotten closer as kind of an all 32 group. I think it's probably mid 25s or so that join calls there twice a month. And so, yeah, it's been very, very, very beneficial.
Well, Kyle, first of all, I appreciate your time. I know things probably are flying around you, hectic-wise your schedule. I appreciate you taking the time. And as they say down there, you guys are 1-0. So laissez bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll, right? Hopefully you guys get a win in week 2 and then keep the undefeated streak going.
Yep, we're about the good times and we're about those wins, man. Just keep those running. That's all we need.
Appreciate it, buddy. Stay safe, right?
Yes, there, you too.